Hallelujah and happy game day. It is finally here, Ohio State and Texas. Season opener, number 1 versus number 2 in the coaches poll, the only poll that matters, and a long wait for Ohio State to unveil. There's a little cover down there in the corner of the horseshoe. I wonder what numbers are underneath that. Welcome to the Pregame Keys on 97.1 The Fan, 10 TV, 10 TV Plus. He is Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward, and I am very excited.
You should be. This is what it's all about, man. This is what college football is made for. It's Ohio State, it's Texas, it's number 1 versus number 2, it's the burnt orange versus scarlet and gray, it's a Manning versus a Sayin.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. It's a beautiful day, perfect day for football, and then you have to play the game, right? So there's all the pomp and circumstance, and then foot hits football, and it's just the same game all these guys have played their whole lives, and then it becomes like, hey, who are we? And that's really what this is about. It's about figuring out what the identity of this Ohio State Buckeyes team is going to be this season, and this is the best way to do it, man. You're going up against Texas.
I'm going to sound like Brim Cantori here. I cannot believe this weather for the opener. I'm used to it being 95 degrees and feeling like you're just sitting on top of the sun. It is 52 degrees right now. And by the way,
but it's a beautiful 52.
This campus is electric and buzzing. We were down here multiple times on Friday around the horseshoe over at the O-Lawn Lane, and people were already down there in the middle of the afternoon. Short North was bonkers on Friday night, and then we get down here. The tailgates in the lot was full by 8 o'clock when we got here. So that doesn't happen for every game, but you can just tell that everything that we've talked about, everyone is ready for this game. They've got the fireworks all tested out. They've got the smoke in the tunnel. Everything's ready. Everything is in place. Both of the studio sets for Big Noon Kickoff and College Game Day and Lee Corso's final appearance already in here. This is what college football is supposed to be. Ryan Day's made that point a lot. And I know that I talk about scheduling and 12 Big Ten games and more conference games. And we can debate all that stuff another time, because in the 2.5 hours, this is going to be number 1 and number 2, and this is a showcase for college football, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and the beauty of it, and we've talked about it at different times, is that while the outcome matters, obviously the individual teams, in the big picture of this college football season, the outcome of this game isn't really going to matter much. It's going to tell us a lot about these two teams, but it's not going to stop either of these two teams from being in the playoff 3 months from now. So that's really the nice thing. You can afford to schedule this type of game against a great program like Texas and a great program like Ohio State, because it's actually a benefit to you, and it's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way college football is meant to be designed. It's not meant to say, well, let's just schedule a bunch of nobodies because that way we can be undefeated heading into the playoff. This is how you figure out who you are, and I'm really excited to see what the 2025 Buckeyes are going to look like.
Okay, so we will get official confirmation on the Ohio State availability report shortly, but here's what we expect. After all of the conversation about the depth at defensive tackle, I think Ohio State will likely be without 2 of them. We saw Jason Moore wearing a walking boot throughout the last couple weeks of practice. I think it was actually off the last time that we were in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center.
But we did see Maxwell Roy on a scooter.
Maxwell Roy was on a scooter. So those 2 pieces, one that we talked about is actually contributing and being in the rotation in Jason Moore. Don't expect that we will see him for the Buckeyes today. So again, that puts more of the onus on the same cast of characters that we've been talking about for the last 7-8 months. Is Tywan Malone ready? Is Jarquez Carter going to make a jump? Will Smith Jr. sort of working in there with Caden McDonald? Maybe he's got to chip in with that. Maybe you see some Caden Curry kicking inside, or Bo Atkinson. Who knows? What's that all going to look like? But Edric Houston is going to play. He's said that for the last several weeks. Ohio State's going to have their entire starting lineup in one piece.
And, if you go into the first game of the season and you don't have your entire starting lineup in one piece, that is a bad sign, generally speaking. It means something horrible happened in your summer or in your first couple weeks of training camp. Buckeyes are healthy. There's no excuses, really, for anything other than just a knockdown, drag-em-out football game today between 2 of the best teams in the country. And so there's a wide open opportunity for Ohio State and Texas to come out here and establish themselves as the clear-cut best program in the nation. So when you think about this game, there are obviously all the hype around Arch Manning has been there. What does Matt Patricia and this defense have to do to him early in order to get him off balance.
You got to touch him. You got to hit him. You got to make him uncomfortable. And there's multiple ways that you can do that. You've got the traditional way, and if Kenyatta Jackson goes out there and has a matchup against maybe a first-time starter or a new starter,
or a starter with one hand,
or someone who's banged up, like Texas is coming into this game. We've not seen their official availability report, but there have been a lot of conversations about injuries and new starters for their offensive line. That's a problem, in my opinion. Even if you nationally, people don't know Kenyatta Jackson or Caden Curry or Bo Atkinson or CJ Hicks, I think they're going to be in positions to make that felt early on. And if Kenyatta Jackson just goes out there and whips somebody a bunch of times, well, Arch is going to be uncomfortable for that, and Steve Sarkisian's going to have to maybe get off of that script. But you can also do that with disguising coverages, moving around blitzes from different angles. We've talked about the potential for Arvell Reese to do a lot of that coming off of the edge, and being a Swiss Army knife defensively, just the same way that Caleb Downs can be. So there's a lot of different factors of that, and I think we're going to see probably a bunch of them right off the bat. And as we've said all along, the Matt Patricia defense is going to look different from week to week. I think it's going to look different from drive to drive, because for all of the hype around Arch Manning, this is going to be very new. And if the volume is cranked up in here the way it's going to be, and they have to get to that silent count where we've heard Ohio State and Ryan Day begging for that, he's going to be uncomfortable even if he's not hit.
Yeah, and from the Ohio State perspective, it's about making sure that the defense doesn't lose containment, doesn't allow Arch Manning to get out and make plays with his feet. We saw it in this building even last year with a unathletic quarterback in Dylan Raiola, who, when the Buckeyes had everything else covered, Dylan was able to just skirt his way out of the pocket and scramble and pick up big gains. And so Arch Manning is a much higher level athlete than Dylan Raiola is, and that quarterback run game is always something that can level the playing field a little bit. And so Ohio State, that's huge for Sonny Styles, for Arvell Reese, and of course for Jalen McClain and Malik Hartford, who are going to be that last line of defense. So I really think that to me, not allowing Arch Manning to pick up third and longs with his feet, to me, is one of the keys of this game. Like, you have to keep him in the pocket and make him beat you from there.
Yeah, I wonder too, Birm, like, somehow it's a part of the game that we haven't really talked about. You've mentioned Arch Manning's legs, but as Ohio State has continued to upgrade the athleticism at linebacker, like the fact that it got beat that way in the past, I'm not necessarily talking about Sonny and Cody Simon a year ago, but you think back 3-4 years ago, the sideline to sideline speed and talent of that linebacker group has clearly been upgraded. And if you want to go run around, you're not going to run away from Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. I think that part might be different. It might not be as easy for a quarterback to find those third and long running opportunities.
No, but it's about keeping eye discipline. It's about making sure that you're actually watching the quarterback. I'll be interested to see if Matt Patricia's defense has a quarterback spy element to it or not. Like, that's really the key of this game. We have no idea what this Ohio State defense is going to look like. And as you said, it's not even going to be week to week. It's going to be drive to drive. Bobby Carpenter talked about it at the live show at Roosters on Monday. Like, if Ohio State could come out early and put Arch Manning in a couple 3-and-outs, this stadium is going to get insane.
Yeah.
And if that happens, Texas is in a lot of trouble.
I think, conversely, there's probably going to be a 3rd and 6 where Julian Sayin's going to have to tuck it and run to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Texas is really talented. Things break down. How much of that element of his game? Steve Sarkisian talked about it on Monday, and so Ryan Day followed up. It's like, well, this perception that Julian can't run, you saw him do it late in a game last year when he came off the bench. Like, that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
We don't have any doubt whatsoever about the quick release, the accuracy, the arm talent. We've just rattled those off about Julian Sayin throughout the entire offseason, throughout training camp. Okay, there's going to be a point. You're going to have to do this with toughness, and you're going to have to be physical and run the football and tuck it and run. Maybe not 10 times, but maybe twice. And I'm fascinated to see that.
Even just doing it once. I mean, if you can do that one time and you put it in the mind of the defense that becomes an option, that becomes an element of the game, then all of a sudden it changes. And that's why I think it's so important for both of these defenses to understand, like, that can happen to you. So how do you avoid it? And for Ohio State, for Julian Sayin, like, he's not going to win this game with his feet, but he can impact the game with his feet, and he has to be able to do that. And if he can show that early, it changes what Texas has to look at the entire game.
Okay, so it feels like 2 keys about the quarterback, which is obvious. They're both making their high-profile marquee matchup starting debut. Give me one more.
For me, ultimately, it's about the best players on the field making the biggest plays. So However, Ohio State.
Do you think Ryan Day gave that message?
I think he probably did, and it obviously is cliche. It's stupid and obvious, but
I don't think that makes it
Jeremiah Smith had one catch for 3 yards against Texas when they played 8 months ago, however many months ago it was.
Yeah.
That can't happen. Like, Jeremiah Smith has to be a focal point of this offense today for Ohio State. I do not believe Texas is going to try to defend him the same way they did a year ago. I think that they will try and be a little bit more disguised with what they're doing, but I don't see a situation where they're going to put 3 guys on him all game, because it really opens up way too much for Max Clare, Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate, etc. So Jeremiah Smith needs to win some of those matchups early. And again, it's one of those things. If the stadium gets going early, this is going to be a long day for Texas. But they have a really talented team. They've done a great job on Jeremiah before, and so I think they have some confidence that they can control him. So I think it's up to Jeremiah. It's up to Caleb Downs. It's on the defensive side of the ball. Like, the best players for Ohio State have to be the best players on the field today, and that's ultimately. I mean, again, it sounds obvious, but if Jeremiah Smith has 1 catch for 3 yards, Ohio State's not going to win this game.
Yeah, I think there's also a way. If Texas is changing the way it defends, Ohio State's probably going to change the way it attacks to get Jeremiah Smith involved, and that can be in any number of ways. Whether that's screen, whether that's pop pass, jet sweep, whatever. Like, everybody knows that he's going to need to touch the football and move him around. Had that conversation with Jackson Smith and Jigba. We had the slot Marv year. Jeremiah can do all those things too. There's nothing that you could ask a passing game target to do that Jeremiah can't do. So find ways to exploit that. And also, there were opportunities against Texas the last time that could have been taken. So
but that was affected by pass rush. That was affected by a lot of other things. The inability to get the running game going. Like, you have to create a cohesive offensive unit that's running the ball and throwing the ball, because this is not the environment or the setting or the matchup that you want to just roll Julian Sayin out there and say, this is all on your shoulders, bud. Like, you got to do this by yourself. There's going to be a point this season where that happens for Ohio State. There's going to be a point in Julian Sayin's career where you feel confident enough to do that, but today's not that day. So it's about everyone else giving him an opportunity to get comfortable. The analogy I've made before is like seeing the ball go through the hoop. Like, let's get out there, have a quick passing game early to get him comfortable, make some completions, and then you can start to feel out like what Texas is doing and how to be a little bit more aggressive and get the ball down the field. But the best players have to be the best players, and so that means to me that Jeremiah Smith has to be a 12, 13 target type of game for him.
All right, well, here we go. We're going to find out shortly. The time for talk is officially over. Kickoff, big noon, Ohio State, Texas, in here in the Horseshoe. You can't ask for anything more. After the game, we will have snap judgments to break it down no matter what happens. We'll have the notebook, and I can't wait to see what we're going to be talking about.
Anything's possible.
Because it'll be something new finally.
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoy the game. Thanks so much for following along for all the coverage, pregame, kickoff, build up throughout the whole week, throughout the entire offseason. We know it's been a long one, and the reward is right now. It's coming up, number 1 versus number 2. Enjoy it. He's Birm. I'm Austin. We will talk to you after the game.